the world today. Y'all get in here. We're going to talk real quick while I drive. Okay? We're going to have a quick conversation while I got, I didn't know I had all that out. We're going to talk about male masculinity. And I know y'all got probably something to say. How can a woman talk about male masculinity? The blueprint. I need y'all to get in here today. Yeah, I got Kenya out today. This is my hair when I wear my natural. It's called Kenya, y'all. I was just in before I get into the subject, let me just tell y'all this real quick. I was just in Five Below, and I don't know what it is when if you a sister and you wear your natural hair, you be feeling like, okay, yeah, who runs the world? That's how you be feeling. These women of another nation came walking behind me and got quiet and just was staring. I put the brakes on and slowly turned around. Hello, hello. How you doing? Who is that? I can't hardly see y'all. I see a smiley face. I slowly turned around, y'all, because this is Kenya, who I'm shining to. Y'all just forget a look. But Kenya is breathing today. She get a vacation, okay? My hair I'm talking about. I slowly turned around and looked at her. I said, this ain't what you want today. This is not what you want, because I give it to you if this is what you want. I ain't going to give nothing to nobody unless they try me. But yeah, and so as I slowly turned around, they proceeded to quietly keep on moving. What is it? I don't know why people act like they ain't never seen natural hair on black folks before. It's like an anomaly. Anomaly, if I'm saying that right. But anyway, let's get into this, talking about male masculinity. And I know it's some male teachers are people that are have platforms. Hello, what you say, Kenya? What is? Hold on, gracious and mighty. Hold on. Y'all know I ain't gonna be able to read these comments. Hey, Tony. Beautiful hair. Thank you. Thank you for the comment. Let me go over here. These people look at me. Look at all this line. So if I'm not reading y'all comments, y'all just bear with me. I just want to have a quick conversation about male masculinity. I just have to get it off me, okay? Because what's going on? So I don't know if you guys had the opportunity to see the little short that I put on. And excuse the nails. That's why I don't like paint my nails, because they be chipping and you look like a third grader. Anyway, male masculinity. You got to get into it. So I posted a short earlier today, and it was talking about Tennessee. I believe it was the state Tennessee has passed a law, or it's a bill about to become a law. One of the two. It's on the books, y'all. About marrying 12-year-olds. You can marry, the legal age, I believe, is going to be 12 years to marry children, y'all. But we talked about this before. It's a slippery slope, because they're going to first of all, you could be mad at me or whatever. I don't care. You got gay cousins, whoever. This is just not right. So when the alphabet community jumped on and used the civil rights movement to get all of their rights, and hell, half black folks still ain't got no rights. We ain't got paid no money. Y'all know they whipped when them Haitians came over the Texas border, honey. They broke out the whips on them. They ain't get no no money, no housing and all that like they doing for some folks now. But anyway, a slippery slope is when you allow just a little bit of something, just a crack in your foundation, you see. That crack may be a little right now. And so I say the alphabet crew jumped on. They got all these benefits. Now everybody got something to say. They even got transgender men talking about women going to be mad because they stealing uteruses and putting them in men, and having men have the capability of carrying a child. And then so you have these transgenders going around talking about how mad a real woman is going to be. Let me tell you something. A real woman would be mad at a man that is got a counterfeit. Okay, so that crack has started to spread, guys. It has started to spread. I might need to pull up. It is cloudy. I don't know. I think most guys, you up there with the cherries. Cause I mean, the clouds are huge, guys. It's been like this for a while. It's really something going on with the weather. But so I think Mambla is behind, pushing this marriage of 12-year-olds in Tennessee. After the marriage and being able to marry children, come on now, children, you got the bestiality coming. Now you can sit back and say, oh no, Nicole, you're just talking out the side of your neck. You don't know what you're talking about. Yes, I do. I know exactly what I'm talking about. You're going to have these perverts snatching up children left and right. That is why they want to be able to control your children's minds with teaching them sex education in school and so on and so forth. Now, we know when I was coming in school, sex education wasn't what sex education is now, okay? Sex education was teaching you about your body parts and when a female was coming on her cycle so she wouldn't freak out and think she was dying when she was in the bathroom. Her mama may have never told her anything, you know. And so this leads me into the male masculinity talk. Some people really don't understand that we need to nourish and develop and cherish this is the city that God sent fire and brimstone down, and Lot and his family got out, but these angels came to get Lot and his family out of Sodom and Gomorrah. But the angels were men, because angels are men. And so the men in the city, the city had become so defiled, so corrupt, that they were raping men in the town square. They wanted men and children. See, a lot of people don't read that story to the fullest. They kind of skim over it. But when these angels came to get Lot out of Sodom and Gomorrah, Lot welcomed them into the house, right? And the angels, the men of the city, y'all, the men of the city was banging on the door talking about, bring them out, okay? Got the boys in the house. They wanted to have sex with the angels. Got the boys in the house. They wanted to have sex with the angels. They wanted to rape the angels because their mindset had become so depraved. And I don't know if this is going in and out for you guys, but I'm sorry if it's fading in and out. Their mindsets have become so depraved that Lot had offered his daughters. He was like, here, my daughters are virgins. Please take them. Don't defile these men. And plus, it's a sin. Okay? No, the men and the boys. So that lets you know that the town had become so corrupt and defiled that children were sexually involved, but they wanted the opposite sex. Okay? That is getting ready to happen here when they're pushing for 12-year-olds to be married or legally of age. Let me tell y'all something. No 12-year-old mindset is right. If you think that a 12-year-old has the mindset to make decisions to run a household, you are sick. And that is why we need to really motivate and promote strong men. Okay? Because you're going to need some strong men on your team when this stuff starts to really go down. When they start bringing out the dogs and the cats to the courthouse talking about they want to get married, you better run for the hills, and you better have a strong man on your side, okay? When I was married for 18 years, together 20 plus, okay? One thing I didn't know, and I was young when I got married. I was in my 20s, okay? My ex had two boys from previous relationships. And I told my ex because see, a lot of men, um, they when they get with a woman, if they have children from other females, sometimes, and I'm not saying all the time, but sometimes they choose to only want to take care of the children whom which they are in that household with, and be negligent to the children, their own biological children. Okay, that is a no-no. That hurts the psyche of children more than you can believe. So when I got married to my ex, I was like, we were getting ready to go overseas, and I said I wanted to bring the children, his children, with us because I knew back then because I was raised in a two-parent household. I knew the importance back then to have a two-parent household to the point where I said to him, because the other children's moms were getting child support, and I didn't want them to feel any kind of way. I said, let them keep getting the child support. We're going over to a foreign land. I traveled when I was young, so I knew the benefits of leaving wherever you're at to travel to a foreign land or outside of your local block, okay, to get culture. I told him, let them come with us and do these 3 years. We actually stayed 5, but do these 3 years with us overseas because in my mind, I knew if I wanted to instill in them the morals of family, okay, and let them still experience their father being in their life. Because I don't care, ladies, if you are raising your child by yourself, you can never, let me say it again, you can never instill anything masculine into a man. You can never do it. You can try to promote it the best way you can, but when men are together, they talk differently, they move differently. Their energy is different, okay? And this is what you want your young boys to be around, okay? So they can pick all these traits up. So when before we got ready to go overseas, you got to get your passport and all these things. I told my ex, I was like, look, tell them they can keep the child support. I just want to be able to instill in them a lifestyle change, experience, and family. Okay? The women said no, even though they were at odds with my ex-husband. Okay, they said no. I said, okay, well, listen to the stipulations I have to say to you. And I was talking to my ex at the time. I told him, I said, we're going to go overseas and we're going to do 3 years. We come back, they have visitation rights and everything. I said, but I'm going to tell you one thing. When your children, and y'all might put negative in the comments, something negative in the comments, but this is how I felt, and I stood on it. I said, when your children turn 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, they can't come stay. You heard me? They can come visit all day long because I only had one child. Okay, so I love for my son to interact with his brothers. They still are tight to this day. Okay? But I told my ex, I said, if they can't come down and be a part and get this grooming that I want to help aid and assist them in life. I said, when the trouble starts, because everybody who has had children knows, and even if you haven't had children, if you are a child, hell, you are a child. When them teenage years start creeping up, when them hormones start popping, when you start thinking you grown and you ain't paying no bills in the house, that's when trouble comes. Trouble, and I knew it. And if you don't instill in children rules, regulations, boundaries, you're going to have some issues. And so they did not come. They did not come. Sure as dog doo-doo stinks, them boys started getting in trouble. I'm going to get to the point, y'all. Let me pull over. His boys started getting in trouble. Behavior issues. Because you see, one son was by his ex-wife, and one son he had an affair. So he had an outside son, okay? His outside son craved attention that he never got. You know them children that just sweet as can be, but the father done been hopping around the Rolling Stone. Papa was a Rolling Stone. Mm-mm. You know, they don't even want to bother with them children, and them children be just reaching out for love. Okay, didn't want to bother with him, so he started having issues within his household with his mother. The one that was by his ex-wife, he was having behavior issues. He started getting suspended from school at how old would you go to, what is it called? Preschool? Not preschool. It's something before you what is it called? Head Start. So he started getting suspended in Head Start. Okay, guys? And then I'm fast forwarding. His son, first son, went to jail. Did some time. Some time, a long time. I didn't see him until he was damn near grown. That's how much time he did. Okay? And his second son finally kind of got it together and went into the military, into the Air Force, I believe. But in my soul, in my heart, I always believe, and let me tell you, my son did his dirt. You know, teenagers do what they do, but never over the top, never crazy. But he knew how to handle himself. He knew how to approach situations even that I couldn't handle at particular times. And that's why I say it's important to have a male influence in your children's life, even if it's a girl, not just boys, because I just have boys, and his other children I consider my children too, so I just have boys. But even if it's a girl, a male influence is always positive, because they should be teaching the female how she should be treated, okay? So she won't get out in these streets and get dogged out and wondering why she turning tricks or why she can't get her mind together. The male energy that my son demonstrated is how I knew when he was coming into his manhood. I had always told my son, because if you guys have followed me, y'all know that when I was coming through, I had to be a fighter. I had to protect myself. But I had an older brother who taught me how to fight. And if it was a situation where we were out and this boy started picking on me and wanted to fight me. And my brother, because I started fighting, and my brother stepped in and he started fighting. And I stepped because he kind of pushed me back. You know what I'm saying? Which you should, because I shouldn't even been in that situation. And my brother pushed me back, and he started fighting the young guy. But then some boys started trying to jump in, and then I jumped in and helped my brother, and we dusted him. Yes, we did. And I try to instill in my son about not putting his hands on women, but knowing the situation that he's in, that he needs to remove himself from situations. And some men don't know, and they get carried away and go too far because they have allowed a crazy uh, woman to put her hands on them constantly. Hold on. Constantly. And without guidance, they have wound up in situations that they shouldn't be in. They have wound up being locked up, having court cases, just stuff that it shouldn't go that route in their life. So when my son was older, because he got hooked up with a crazy girl, and she started wanting to fight him. Instantly, my son knew to call me because I told my son, as a mother, it don't matter where you're at. It doesn't matter if it's daytime, nighttime, the middle of the morning. If something is going down, to call me. Because, see, my father told me that one time. Well, he told me all the time, but one time I took his advice. My father told me those exact words, and that's why I relayed them to my son. Not that it was my great wisdom that I was relaying. It was because I had a strong man in my life to tell me, and I don't care what you're doing, call me. I was at the club, snuck out to the club. My friends bounced. I'm stuck. I had to pick up the phone, get the payphone back then, and call. I didn't. He came, got me, didn't cuss me out, didn't say nothing. The next day, we had a conversation, but it was right then and there the protection that I was able to understand that a man provides that. Okay, the wisdom that he knew that if his child or anybody in his family was in danger or had put themselves in a dangerous situation, that he would come and get him, or whoever, me, or my brother. You see, this is male masculinity. I took that concept and I told my son the same thing. He did that very thing when his girl was going buck wild, wanting to fight him. I hopped out of bed and rolled up on the scene and told him to get in the car. Okay? Because one thing is, you don't want this system to get you or any of your children. Okay? Fast forward. It's the end of my relationship. 20 years plus has passed. At the end of any relationship, I don't care how long you have been in. If you've been, well, I do. It does matter, because if you've been in a 2-week relationship, okay, you might can dust the dust off your shoes and keep pushing. But 20 years is a long time to be with somebody. I don't care if you have differences, but see, you have established a connection, a soul tie, a very strong soul tie. But however, people's emotions get the best of them. Me and my ex got into it. And right when we were getting into it, we were arguing. And my son called me. He had been out. And my son has always been like strong and independent, right? He always he blew my mind as a child coming up. Um, from his mannerisms and just has a leadership quality about him. And I'm not saying that just because it's my son, it's just facts. Um, as me and my ex are going back and forth, my son calls and I pick up my cell phone and I'm talking, but he can hear my ex yelling and screaming, and I'm telling him just to go. And my son is like, what's going on? And I was like, nothing, don't worry. At the time, I lived in a big house in a cul-de-sac. You know those cul-de-sacs that, you drive in a cul-de-sac, it's round, there's no exit out, it's just round. I and my ex and myself witnessed that night my son coming into his manlyhood, his protection, because I never, coming through our relationship, would argue. He might heard arguments, but it wasn't no fist fights or nothing like that. Everybody's gonna argue in a relationship. That's just how it is. Come on, you're gonna have a disagreement. But however, it wasn't nothing. I'm from the old school of raising children. Children, if it's grown-ups' business, they go in the other room. If we partying over here, you in the room with your snacks and your other children. You don't come in grown folks' business. So it's always been a separation when things are going down. With my son, I told him, no, it's good. He said, no, okay, Mom, okay. He hung up the phone. Me and my ex still going at it, and so he's at the front door. I'm telling him, just go. Before I knew it, it was a caravan. You don't hear me. It was a caravan, about 6 to 7 vehicles pulled into the cul-de-sac, around the cul-de-sac, parked. My son's car was in the lead. Got out of the car and walked up to the house. I've always been able to sense when there is male energy around, or I guess this is because I was raised in a two-family household. When I seen how he pulled around, got out the car, not yelling, not acting a fool, but he was about business. I think he was about 20 at that time. Walked out. All of his friends got out the car. Y'all, it felt like I was in a Malcolm X doggone movie. Because all of his friends got out the car, opened their doors, and stood by their door. And my son walked up and he was like, is there a problem? Is everything okay? He was like, Dad, I think you should just go ahead and leave and then let this cool down. He always had a take charge attitude about him. But the manlyhood that exuded from him that night is when I knew he was coming into his manhood. Because the energy he brought shut down the energy that my ex and I were having, going back and forth. Because when you're emotional, when you've been through some stuff, you're going back and forth. You want to express yourself. He want to express himself. My ex didn't even say another word. My son and my ex walked out. I'm watching. Walk down the driveway, my son with his arm around him like he was the dad in the situation. You see what I'm saying? He has taken the training that he knows. He knew if something was going to pop off, him and his boys, because my ex was a big guy, was going to handle the situation. But they didn't come up there like hoodlums. But hoodlum energy was there if something needed to pop off. The leadership, the wisdom, and the control that a man that is coming into his manlyhood, or that is a man already and is growing in age and gaining more wisdom. Because just because you're older or you're old, it does not mean you have wisdom. It don't mean you have wisdom, y'all. I'm sorry to tell you, I met some old fools before, and you just shake your head. You be like, but it's not their fault, because some people, parents, they don't train them, and you would think people would know, but they don't know certain things. I tell you this story because we are destroying the blueprint in society. The blueprint of the family structure. I'm not saying that because it right now we kind of far gone. I'm not saying if you have children you've had them outside of wedlock, that you have to go try to go marry, because some folks have had 4 or 5 children outside of wedlock, so that would be impossible right about now, trying to marry them. And you know what I'm saying is the blueprint has been destroyed. Manhood has been destroyed, and that is what and I know a lot of you guys who follow me aren't believers, but that is what Satan, that is his first mark on the agenda. His first mark on the agenda. If you know anything about the Bible, if you know anything about history and wars, when a country, a nation is battling another nation, the first thing they want to do is kill or subdue the men, take them out. The women, they'll take and make their wives or their slaves or whatever they're going to make them as, because that was part of the booty, the treasures of war. It is the man, the strong man. And I'm not saying you have to be strong mentally, physically, but being strong mentally is an asset. Guys, keep your eyes open, because when you need to move, you're going to have to move. When these laws start coming down the pipeline, lowering the age of consent, you're going to have to really see and develop your discernment. But by then, you probably won't need much, because the pedophiles and perverts will reveal themselves. You have to be able to move your family, protect your household, and protect your nation. That's the end all be all of it all. Because if not, it's gonna be hell. So I just thought I'd come on here and talk really quick about male masculinity and how very precious it is. But a lot of us don't consider that an asset of value, because we can go out here as women and do what we want to do. But if you know, as a woman, and if women are really honest with themselves, you don't want to have all that pressure all the time. Yes, you can do a lot of things as a woman, as an individual. It's about balance. It's about checks and balances, order. You see, don't get fooled. Don't be tricked, women, thinking that you don't need a man. Let's put that baby to bed. Let's put that baby to bed. For you young girls out there. And if you older women want a husband or whatever, that's great. But I'm just saying, for some young females, they have been brainwashed into thinking that they don't need a man when helping rear children or in their life, period. Period. Guys, we got to shake the cobwebs and the chains, break the chains off of our mental. Off of our mental. The attack, yes, a lot of black women say the attack is on black women. The attack is on men, black men, woo woo. Because they potent and they be making all these children around here. They trying to take y'all out. But no, I just had to, they try to take the men out in general. Okay? They really are. So keep your eyes open to these laws. That law in Tennessee was passed, and that's what they do. They pass most laws when they're throwing distractions at you. When they're throwing distractions at you, and one day you'll wake up and you'll start seeing people with wedding bands, and on their wedding bands they're saying it's their dog's name because they married their dog. Babylon is here. We are in the nation of Babylon, and the Most High said He will return when this cup of iniquity has overflown. This is just another sign of the times that we are getting closer and closer to the return, guys. So maybe you just need to reevaluate yourself as a woman when you feel that or you think that you don't need a man. In your life, especially if you're raising children. I pray that you reevaluate that. That is the order. Christ, man, woman, child. That's the order, guys. And men, because I know there are men that are on the down low, and we have these transgenders out here that think that they can do better than a woman. Christ, man, woman, child. You see, even the woman has things to bring to this so-called table that's imaginary on these streets of social media. I want you all to just be wise. Let me go because it looks like it's about to rain, but I just want you guys to be wise and remember, like in the days of Noah. And I'm out, and much, much love.